Has it really been over a year since the first part of this series? I remember when I was just starting to make it. I was on such a Demon Slayer kick. Demon Slayer is very similar to Naruto in that it's filled with heart. The main character is more loving, however, though he is just as determined as Naruto. That's why I felt it would be a wonderful idea to take Naruto and put him in Demon Slayer, but not as a Demon Slayer himself. To reference the nine-tailed demon fox, I thought it would be best to make him a demon. That would force him to face the darkness in himself and conquer it, a similar theme as that of Naruto. And so, today I present to you the full series of What If Naruto Were in Demon Slayer, in the format of a movie. I hope you enjoy it. But first, welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. In this world, there exist two kinds of people, humans and demons. But how different from each other are the two? Both are killers. Both flee from that good night with all they have in them. The fear of death is what keeps them both alive. The rules of the jungle. Jean-Paul Sartre once said, "Every existing thing is born without reason, prolongs itself out of weakness, and dies by chance." Such a phrase could so easily be fit to Muzan Kibutsuji. Such a pessimistic view of one without the concept of reason, without the belief that all things happen for a reason. Tamayo herself was a demon, freed from Kibutsuji's curse by her own power. It was this night that she found herself walking the streets of Tokyo. Something had happened, something she needed to see herself. She came upon the scene and saw the pool of blood. The current Thunder Hashira, Minato Namikaze, lay silent, face down in a pool of blood. Nearby was a body mutilated so badly that it was beyond recognition. This, Lady Tamayo could only assume, was Kushina Uzumaki, the wife of the Thunder Hashira. From the pool of blood, there was a small trail, a tiny handprint on the wooden floor. Tamayo shook her head in disbelief, praying that she was somehow wrong. The wound on the woman. Her stomach had been ripped open, the contents spilled on the floor, half devoured. As she rounded the corner, she followed the blood trail into a separate room. It was dark, hard to see, but as a demon, this hardly affected her any. After all, demons were nocturnal by nature, as if their bodies could allow them to be anything but. This allowed her to see in the dark fairly well. Following the blood to another door, what looked like a closet, she opened it up to find a small blonde baby, crying, an infant. Its hands were covered in blood, as were its knees and feet, blood not of its own. For a second, as it caught its breath from tears, it opened its eyes to display red slits glowing in the darkness. Tamayo was surprised. It's a demon. She sensed no hostile intent from the child, so she takes an old cloth and uses it to swaddle the child and lift it up into her arms. It shivered. Was it emotion or was it the cold? Perhaps it was both, or something else altogether. As she held it close to her chest, she steps back through the room with the dead bodies and looks around. She then looks at the baby and surmises what must have happened. The mother had been pregnant when she encountered Muzan Kibutsuji. Muzan must have somehow injected the child with his own blood and transformed it into a demon. The child ripped its way out of its mother, only to be confronted by the Thunder Hashira, Minato Namikaze. The father, unwilling to kill his own child, failed to properly defend and was struck, only to later succumb to his wounds. The child, having orphaned itself, then made an attempt to hide. As Tamayo looked at this, she knew that she hardly could hold this child responsible. It had literally only just been born, corrupted by the blood of Kibutsuji. She knew what it was like to become a demon, and what it was like to feel that hunger and desire to kill and destroy and lay waste to all in her path. An almost instinctual need to dominate and eradicate. This child had simply done what it had been made to do. It could not be held responsible for this action. Its innocence, despite its appalling murder of its own parents, remained. Her heart was moved with compassion and decided not to pass judgment, as if she herself had such a right anyway. She took the child back with her to her home. Opening the door and closing it behind her, she would proceed to treat the child. The first thing required to do was to neutralize the effect of Kibutsuji's curse. Once she had broken Muzan's control over the child, she could work back from there. As she administered the treatment, she could sense it in the child's sudden staunching of tears that she had gifted it with the one thing it should have had all along: freedom, the destiny to choose its own fate. She lamented that the child had never seen, nor would ever see, the sun, but this was the life it would now live. In exchange for half of each day, it would be granted a life everlasting, never-ending, immortality. But this would not be an easy life that one might expect. Demons were predators by nature, and though the curse was nullified, hunger remained. The child would grow hungry for human flesh soon. Tamayo herself had learned to subsist off of nothing but human blood that had been carefully collected and donated by still living targets. The issue was that she was an older woman. She had seen many hundreds of years, and her mind was aged and wise. She had learned self-control. She could easily tell her body no when it desired human flesh. This baby, however, was fresh, and it would be unable to understand nor make that choice willingly. So it was up to Tamayo to ensure that it never killed the human and subsisted simply off of blood. Given its age and how much it would need to grow, along with the understanding that desire for human flesh would be great within it, she decided to give her child the lion's share of the blood in her stock. Allowing the child to suckle upon the blood of humanity in a twisted mockery of mother and child, she fed it. From here, it slept, what seemed like weeks on end, waking up only momentarily for a bit more blood. As she watched the child sleep, she couldn't help but wonder at the little baby in her care. To think such a thing could survive a direct infusion from Muzan himself was unthinkable. All the same, a part of her seemed to dance with joy in a somewhat shameful way, or so she felt. After all, how could it not be dreadful to celebrate the death of someone and your acquisition of their child as your own? Not that she was glad at the deaths of the Hashira and his wife, but more that she got to raise a child herself. Tamayo's leftover human nature and desires remained forever mocking her every morning as she attempted to sleep. She would lay in bed as the distant call of the morning doves told her that the celestial body that would burn her to ashes lingered overhead. A slightly disturbing concept, but all the same, she recalled her time under it and how she had always wanted to be a mother. Her single greatest dream outside of being the greatest doctor in Japan was to raise a child of her own, to see her face in the face of an infant, to hear her voice in the voice of a babe. Perhaps it was human nature to seek reproduction. Why? Was it for legacy? Was it for the sake of passing on genes? Or was it simply that her heart craved companionship in a life and body she had helped create, that she had carried herself? It was human nature to reproduce, to create life. But this concept was not present in demons. While Tamayo considered the concept that a demon might be able to have a child with a human, it seemed unlikely that her body ever could, as her body might simply devour the child within her. That was the way of demons. As humans created life through selfless love, the demons took it through selfish lust. All the same, as she lay curled up under the covers, her gaze met the sleeping face of the child. She felt as if a part of her humanity was being satisfied by this. Perhaps the child was not generated within her, and maybe it bore no more connection to her than the blood of Kibutsuji, but all the same, it was a child without a mother, and Tamayo felt as if she had always been a mother without a child. So it was only natural that these two should come together. As she lay there, her motherly embrace upon the child, she let off a smile. Cradling it, she wondered what the name of it could be. She knew that the name should reference its parents, something he would carry all through life as a reminder of his origins. She weighed on the name for some time, taking in the names and meanings of the child's parents' names. Minato Namikaze. The name Minato meant harbor, and the surname Namikaze, wave and wind. The name Kushina had many meanings, but the last name Uzumaki meant spiral or whirlpool. As Tamayo continued to think on it, she began to think of anything that could fit, and to her credit, she had an idea. Between the Hyogo and Tokushima prefecture, there was a strait, and in this strait, there was a fast whirlpool known as the Naruto. Maelstrom, Naruto. She thought about it. It also sounds a bit like your father's name, Minato, and it honors your mother's clan, Uzumaki. Tamayo smiled as she pressed her face gently against the sleeping baby's cheek. Naruto, I like that. What about you? The baby let off a slight smile. Tamayo giggled a bit. Naruto. She teased it. Tamayo would continue to nurse and raise the child she had named Naruto for many years. The child was very happy-go-lucky, not a hint of sorrow in him. He played about at night. Of course, he knew that he could never go out in the sun, and that he required human blood instead of human food to survive. He often questioned this, wondering why it was, and Tamayo, in her wisdom, found it best to simply tell him the truth. He was different from other people. He wasn't human anymore, but instead demon. And though at first he seemed a bit startled by this fact, due to all the stories he had read and heard, he was comforted by her when she reminded him that not every demon had to be evil, and that it was just another type of creature. While demons were predominantly evil, Naruto, like Tamayo, did not have to be, and they could use their magic powers to help people. Naruto questioned the idea of magic powers, and so Tamayo, who had spent enough time as a demon to understand, began to teach Naruto how to make use of his powers. She was interested to see how his blood demon art worked. Surely he had one. As they trained together, she explained how blood demon arts worked and how through the mystical abilities born in their blood, they could develop techniques. For Naruto, she discovered him to be what she considered a fox demon. He transformed. Upon doing so, a set of ears appeared atop his head as 3 whisker-like patterns appeared on each cheek, respectively. His eyes became red with fox slits, and he gained 9 tails, spawning from the base of his back, at about the end of the tailbone. He also developed a necklace about his neck containing 12 beads, with a pearl-looking thing in one hand. This fit well with the legends that Tamayo had heard about the Kitsune. The Kitsune were mystical foxes with powers over the elements. These elements were celestial, wind, spirit, darkness, fire, earth, river, ocean, forest, mountain, thunder, sound, and time. There were 13 elements, and that was what the 12 beads about his neck represented. 1 bead for each element, with Naruto being dubbed the 13th himself. As she looked at him, she noticed that each bead bore a kanji for 1 element, and on the pearl in his hand, the kanji for the 13th element appeared. Whatever element existed on this star ball was what he controlled at the time. How to properly use these powers and all of their applications were beyond Tamayo, but it became known to her that she was housing what could be one of the most powerful demons ever created. A demon considered worthy to be counted among the 12 Kizuki. She explained to Naruto about his powers, and he asked how he could use them to help people. She told him that that was entirely up to him. With the powers of a fox demon, he could do anything he set his mind to. Naruto continued to train with his powers for some time, between bouts of playing. Tamayo encouraged him to explore his abilities and become familiar with them, as they may one day help him. It was not much longer after this that Tamayo returned to their home with a young boy in tow. Naruto was confused by this, and he asked her to explain what it meant. Tamayo explained to Naruto that the boy was sick. He was an orphan and alone, and due to his status, as well as what they considered to be his incurable illness, most of society had simply forgotten about him, leaving him to die in the gutters. Tamayo explained that she could not let this boy die alone and had brought him back to heal him, or at the very least help him find peace before the end. This boy's name was Yushiro. Naruto kept close to Yushiro during the ordeal. At first it was out of curiosity, curious at his illness, curious at his humanity, curious of someone his age being in the house. Naruto had never had any friends. For the most part, he had lived a sheltered life and had never left the house nor the surrounding property without Lady Tamayo. This was his first encounter with another person his age. He looked at Tamayo. "Mama, can I play with that boy?" he asked. Tamayo shook her head. "No, Naruto, the boy is sick. He can't play." Naruto seemed disappointed by that. "Will he get better?" Tamayo slowly began to shake her head. "I've tried as many treatments as I could. This boy will likely not live much longer." Naruto looked back at the boy. "No," he said with a slight whine to his voice. "I don't want him to die. I want him to be alive," he said with a hint of sorrow. Tamayo thought she detected the wetness of tears on his bottom eyelids. Naruto spoke once more. "Can I stay with the boy? If he has to die, I don't want him to be sad or scared or alone." Tamayo was surprised at Naruto's request. Was this the result of how she'd been raising him? Or was this perhaps what his nature had always been? He was the son of a Hashira, and though she had never met Minato personally, she had always heard that he was a kind and caring person. She nodded and told Naruto that he may. And so Naruto would spend time with Yushiro. He would not sleep, nor would he leave his side, his hand always holding Yushiro's. That whole time, Tamayo watched it. She realized that the same humanity was shining in herself, and she began to wonder, is it truly so bad to be a demon? She would eventually approach the boy. At first, she had never once considered asking the boy this, believing it to be better to let him die than to live a cursed existence like she and Naruto now were. But now she realized that even if he was a demon, he could be happy. And so she came to Yoshiro's side and asked him. She told him that if he remained as he was, he would die. But by surrendering the humanity in his body, he could gain the strength to overcome his illness at the cost of walking in the sun. She said that the path might be hard, and he would lose what made him human, but that the humanity in his soul could remain if his will was strong enough. She offered him a simple choice. Surrender his humanity and become a tireless demon, or maintain his humanity and pass into the next world. Yoshiro would take some time to consider this. Tamayo would give him all the time he needed. Yoshiro would look to Naruto and ask him, "What's it like to be a demon?" Naruto thought about it. "Well, what's it like to be a human?" Yoshiro explained that from his experience it was really hard, living in a world knowing that with each year you grew 365 days closer to your death, possessing clear and strict limits that, despite that, humans tried to push all the time. He was worried that he was truly going to lose what it meant to be a human, not just his limits, but his soul. Naruto thought about it for a time. Being a demon isn't so bad. Yeah, our bodies are hardier and we don't tire out the same way a human does, but that doesn't mean we don't struggle. We have our own battles we fight. There are still limits on demons. So to simply do good is a battle in and of itself. To retain one's humanity is a battle that proves we're still human, even if we're psychologically different. I think I'm a human, Naruto said. Deep down in my soul, I think I am a human. I am a human because I've decided to be one. Yoshiro nodded in understanding. Can I live a normal life as a demon? Naruto thought about it. Probably not. You can't walk in the sunlight, you can't survive eating human food, and you have to drink human blood. You may also develop a desire to eat people. Not that you can't train yourself out of it. You can, and it gets easier over time. Lady Tamayo pretty much no longer feels it, and I only feel tempted when I see someone bleeding, and even then I can say no. If you have the willpower to remain human, you'll remain human, at least in your spirit. So no, you won't live a normal life, but you also won't live a life that's overly different. You're just trading out sleeping at night for sleeping in the day. It's not that hard to get used to. Yoshiro thought about it for a moment. I think I'll become a demon. Naruto pat Yoshiro's hand and stood. I'll go tell Mama. He walked off to tell Tamayo that Yoshiro had made a decision. She would come into the room and kneel down. Naruto told me you've decided to become a demon. Yoshiro nodded. Tamayo then spoke. I can do that for you, but you need to know that even still, it's not guaranteed to work. You could die in the process, and the process itself is very painful, and once it's completed, there's no turning back. Are you still certain that you wish to become a demon? Yoshiro gulped a little. Yes. Even if I die in the process, I'm dying anyway, and I doubt that the pain of becoming a demon can overcome the pain of living my life alone. Tamayo felt sorrowful over this, so she prepared the procedure. Once it was all set up, all she simply had to do was transfer some of her blood to him. Before she did, she asked him one last time, Are you sure? This is the last chance you get to say no. Once this is done, it can't be undone. Yoshiro nodded. I'm sure. You may do it. Tamayo nodded. As you wish. She then flowed some of her blood into him. At first, he seemed to have no reaction. But suddenly his back arched as he gripped at his skull and cried out. His skin, which had already been pale, seemed to grow ashen. All the while, his irises began to shift, his pupils forming into demonic slits. Naruto watched from the door. Veins bulged as he screamed out. His teeth slowly became pointed, sharper. All the same, his fingernails almost seemed to transform into claws. After a moment more had passed, he seemed to pass out. Tamayo began to worry that he passed away. She put her hands to his neck and looked for a pulse, and to her joy, she felt one. She stayed with Yoshiro until he stabilized. Once that was over, she walked back to the door and stepped to Naruto. Please, watch over him, Naruto. When he wakes up, he'll need someone to relate to. It's not an easy process becoming a demon. You don't remember, but I do. When you wake up, you feel like an abomination, like everything is wrong and that the world is coming to an end. But if you stay with him, maybe you can ease his fears. Naruto nodded. He stepped over and knelt down to watch over Yoshiro. Many hours passed before he awoke. When he did, he woke up in a cold sweat. As he lay there, his eyes spoke more than any word could. He was scared, terrified. He felt that he had made the biggest mistake of his life. Naruto appeared before him with a smile. Hi, Yoshi. How do you feel? Yoshiro was silent as he then looked at his hand. Tears formed in his eyes as he gasped, looking at the veins and the claws. I'm a monster. Naruto showed him his own hands, well-kept fingernails, lack of overly large veins, and even a healthy color to it. Don't be afraid. Your body's still acclimating. It'll become more like mine as more time passes. Yoshiro looked up at Naruto. I feel like an affront to nature, like existence itself is angry at me. Naruto smiled. Nature is cruel. Why should it care if you're natural or not? If it didn't want you to become like this, then it shouldn't have provided the herbs and plants used to create whatever substance that was used to make demons. I feel like God has turned his back on me. Naruto shook his head. God looks not on the body, but the soul. And your soul will always be human so long as you let it. Yoshiro sat there silently, just looking at himself. Naruto continued to hover above him. Trust me, Yoshi. You're just going through what Mama calls a chemical imbalance. Your body changed quickly and extravagantly. What you're feeling is a rush of different chemicals. It'll settle. When it does, you'll forget all about this feeling. He leaned in and whispered in his ear. Just be happy. You're not dying anymore. You get to live. And to live is the opportunity to be happy. Naruto turned back. Mama! Tamayo walked into the room. What is it? Naruto then spoke to her. "Yushiro is awake and he seems pretty stressed out. Is there anything you can do to help him?" Tamayo walked over. Of course. She knelt down beside Yushiro and put her hand to his cheek. "Don't be afraid, Yushiro. There's nothing to be afraid of." She then cut her finger to allow blood to exit the wound. As she did, she began to utilize her blood demon art to cast a bewitching spell upon Yushiro to give him a bit of peace and leave him in a calm state that allowed him to sleep, not too unlike an anesthetic. As he rests, Naruto asks if Yushiro will really be okay, and Tamayo states that what she said is true, but they need to immediately begin the procedure to free him from Kibutsuji's curse. So while he's asleep, they proceed to work on freeing him from it, which is successful. For a time after this, Yushiro continues to rest, but when he eventually does wake up, his body's chemistry had evened out and his mind is allowed to think logically, which Naruto helps along with kindness. Lady Tamayo is also there to help his new demonic state seem normal to him. Eventually, Yushiro accepts his new life and vows to spend his life with Tamayo and Naruto, helping the two heal and help others. With his new blood demon art, he manages to hide his and his family's home from the demons of Kibutsuji, as well as from the Demon Slayer Corps themselves, as few of them would accept the idea of a group of peaceful demons living in seclusion. Time continues to pass, with them doing their work. Tamayo continues to research demons and demonification, but makes new progress. She takes the blood of herself, Yushiro, and Naruto and studies it, and there's only so much she can learn that way, so she sort of hits a dead end on their research. She decides to focus on helping people, but as she, Yushiro, and Naruto move through Tokyo in hopes of helping, they hear a commotion. They realize too late that it was a slight altercation between the Demon King himself and a young demon slayer named Tanjiro Kamado. It seemed that the Demon King had turned another into a demon to hide his presence. Due to this, Tanjiro was restraining the man, attempting to find a way to help him, but as they watched, Tanjiro was being surrounded by those who planned to interfere. But as she listened to what he said, she noticed that Tanjiro called this demon a person. Once more, her heart was moved with compassion. She would draw her blood and begin casting her blood demon art. This would distract everyone save Tanjiro. Tamayo would approach him, and he would look at her with surprise. Then his eyes would pass between her, Yushiro, and Naruto. There was a certain fear, but Tamayo quelled that fear by telling him that she was more than a demon, she was a doctor as well. She invites them back to her clinic, though Tanjiro refuses at first, stating that he had to go and pick up Nezuko. Tamayo understands and tells Yushiro to collect them when Tanjiro is ready. At first, Yushiro refuses, but upon a second, more direct request, he agrees. Tamayo can't help but smile, realizing how reliant upon her Yushiro has become. He and Naruto both. It's as if she really is a mother now, with these two serving as her sons. She's building a happy little family. She and Naruto return to the home where she requisitions Naruto to clean up a bit to make it a bit more presentable for the others. She then takes the demonized man to a place where she can keep him safe and proceed working on a way to at least help him normalize himself to his new lifestyle. Not long after this, Yushiro returns home with Tanjiro and Nezuko. The moment they walk into the room, Naruto's jaw drops. One look at Nezuko was all it took. Wow, she's beautiful! Tamayo's mouth drops in surprise at Naruto's statement. She begs forgiveness for Naruto's outburst, to which Tanjiro waves off with a smile. Tanjiro then looks over at Yushiro with a sneering smile. See, I told you so. He then sits down and begins to discuss with Lady Tamayo about demons and the possibilities to heal them of their sickness. Naruto sorta just zones out. He's too interested in Nezuko right now. To be honest, Nezuko seems to be zoning everything out too. Yushiro was attempting to pay close attention, but his frustration builds as both Naruto and Nezuko's childlike behavior makes concentration harder. Naruto approaches Nezuko as she just sorta rolls around the floor. She looks up at him. She mumbles with a smile and a wave. He waves back at her. Hello, Nezuko. Wanna go outside and play? Nezuko smiles and sits up. She tugs on Tanjiro's haori. Tanjiro seems to ignore her, which leaves her a little frustrated. She tugs harder and faster. Tanjiro holds up a finger. Nezuko sees the finger, demanding that she give her brother a moment. No, that's not happening. She tugs his haori as fast as possible and as hard as possible without tearing the fabric. What is it, Nezuko? Tanjiro asks kindly, yet a single vein bulging from his forehead. She sits there silently for a moment before pointing at the door where Naruto is standing. Tanjiro looks back on them. Oh, do you want to go to play outside with him? She nods. Tanjiro smiles. Well, I suppose it would be okay. You two go and have some fun. Nezuko stands up and runs out back with Naruto. Naruto takes her out into the yard where he has a ball waiting. He turns around to see her waiting. He pulls the ball out and kicks it to her. She kicks it so hard that it strikes his chest and sends him flying back about 6 feet. He manages to stand, coughing a bit. He holds up a finger to catch his breath as Nezuko looks on with a bit of concern. He then smiles and kicks the ball as hard as possible back at her. Fires of determination erupt from Nezuko's eyes as she does a flip and kicks the ball away into the shrubs. Nezuko scratches her head and realizes that she kicked it the wrong way. She runs into the bushes and brings a ball back. She kicks it with less force back to Naruto. Naruto catches the ball with his foot and prepares to kick it back at her, but stops when he realizes that this is not the ball he owns. He picks it up to look at it and hears the distinct sound of a bell ringing within. He examines it. "Tamari ball," he says as he looks at it. He's never had a ball like this before. He always wanted one though. However, it wasn't his, and it would be rude to keep it when someone else might be missing it. "Where did you find this ball, Nezuko?" he asks. Suddenly, another Tamari strikes him in the chest and sends him crashing through the wall of the building, right into the main living room where Tanjiro and Tamayo are surprised. Yoshiro checks on Naruto. "Are you okay?" He helps him sit up. Tanjiro stands. "I smell demons." They rush back outside to see two demons. One stands there holding Naruto's soccer ball in her hands. "Interesting ball. I see you enjoy these kinds of games too. How about we play a game together then? How about we play?" She suddenly throws a barrage of balls at them. Dodgeball! Naruto barely gets out of the way, as does everyone else. However, the house more or less gets turned into Swiss cheese. Naruto stands. He rushes at the demon only to be caught by some strange arrow that sent him flying up and then back down into the ground, spiking him like a football. "Naruto!" Yoshiro shouts. He then stands there ready to defend Lady Tamayo. Naruto lays there for a time, feeling as if two of his ribs had been broken. He lets them heal as he sits up. Tanjiro rushes at the demons only to be grabbed and flipped like a ragdoll. Nezuko also attempts to attack, but as the Tamari demon's ball comes in to strike her, she attempts to kick it. However, she failed to estimate how powerful the ball would be, and as she goes to kick it, her leg is completely torn off. Naruto stands. He growls. "No way I'm allowing that! Blood Demon Heart! 1000 year Zenko!" Suddenly, he transforms. His hair gains a bit of golden glow to it as his flesh turns dark gray. His irises glow orange as his pupils turn to slits. 3 marks appear on each of his cheeks as a star ball appears in his hand. The star ball displayed the kanji for thunder. Suddenly, Naruto dashed forward. As the arrow demon saw this coming, he would send out more arrows at Naruto, but his speed had him easily dodging them. He would move through and kick the head clean off the arrow demon before rushing at the Tamari demon. All the while, Tamayo was surprised to see Naruto's skill. She thought it ironic that he would choose thunder as that was his father's element. It seemed to come to Naruto quite easily. The issue though was that Naruto's attacks would not keep the demons down. Tanjiro, having recovered from the previous attack, would rush in and finish off the arrow demon quite easily. Naruto would then keep the pressure on the Tamari demon. She would throw 3 balls at Naruto. Naruto would dodge one and deflect the other before grabbing the third and throwing it back, striking her in the chest. As she flew backward, Tanjiro was ready. He would swing his blade and decapitate her as well. With the battle over quite quickly, they step back into the house. Tanjiro hits his knees and begs for forgiveness. Tamayo asks him why he's doing this, and he says that it's his fault, and that Kibutsuji had likely tracked them here through Tanjiro's lack of caution. Tamayo shakes her head and states that it likely doesn't have anything to do with Tanjiro, and instead was a risk she took upon seeing Tanjiro defending the demonized man. She vows to help the man, but says that she must move to another region and go into hiding to keep away from Muzan's grasp. And with that, the two groups part ways. But before he leaves, Tamayo requests that Tanjiro send her as much blood as he can from any high-ranked demons he faces. The stronger they are, the closer to Kibutsuji they are, and the closer to Kibutsuji they are, the more of his essence they have. The more essence they have, the more likely it is that she can synthesize a cure after discovering more about how demonification works. Tanjiro agrees to that and is off on his way. All the while, Tamayo and her group leave to go back into hiding. As they walk through the night, Tamayo speaks with Naruto. "Do you like that girl, Naruto?" Naruto blushes a bit before nodding. Tamayo smiles. "One day, when I return you both to human, I hope you'll consider a relationship with her. It would be my greatest wish to see you happy." In the distance, however, as they walk, another demon watched. Nobody knew it was there, and they wouldn't. It was only watching for now. A demon watching them with fox-slit eyes. As Tanjiro and Nezuko continue on their way with Naruto in tow, Tanjiro decided to bring Naruto along, but the issue was he hadn't prepared properly for this. He had not considered that Naruto also could not be exposed to sunlight, so this had become an issue. In the end, Tanjiro knew that Naruto's safety was now his responsibility and that he would need to protect him as well. He had volunteered to bring Naruto with him after all, so Tanjiro simply decided to bite the bullet. Tanjiro would craft a second box, not too unlike Nezuko's, and ask Naruto to climb inside. Naruto did not like the idea of having Tanjiro carry him, but since he had no other ideas, he decided to do so. This made traveling twice as hard for Tanjiro, as he was now carrying not only the weight of a small girl, but a small boy as well. Tanjiro continued though without complaining. His heart was full of joy in a strange way. He had come to realize that this boy was fulfilling a place in his heart that he had left empty for quite some time. It was as if Tanjiro were a big brother again. He was literally carrying his family on his shoulders now. Tanjiro was only afraid of one thing. He was scared that he would lose his strength or his control and would accidentally drop Naruto or Nezuko. The box was reinforced, or at least it was for Nezuko. Naruto's box was fresh and clumsily built, with a blanket thrown on top just in case there were any gaps in the planks. If Tanjiro dropped this box and it broke though, Naruto was as good as dead. So Tanjiro took it slow. Naruto was a bit heavier than Nezuko, so he had to work at this strategically. The box was slightly bigger too, so eventually Tanjiro decided to switch positioning of the boxes, putting Naruto on his back and Nezuko on his chest. That way the weight would be more properly distributed, and the chances of dropping Naruto's more fragile box would be less. As Tanjiro walked on, he came across another demon slayer known as Zenitsu. Zenitsu had been harassing a woman, which Tanjiro thought to be dishonorable. He tried to defend the woman, but soon came to realize that Zenitsu wasn't a bad person, but instead a very sensitive person who had a position forced upon him that he didn't want, and was now in the throes of desperation. Oh well. Was that harsh? Yeah, maybe, but oh well was the only thing that could be said. Zenitsu was a demon slayer now, and despite his ability to simply quit, he did not. Zenitsu continued down his undesired path, despite the fact that he could say no at any time. Tanjiro assumed that there was an important reason for this, and did not press the matter. He bid Zenitsu adieu and planned to continue, but Zenitsu latched on like a tick and would not let him go. Now Tanjiro had 3 hanger-ons, one of which he didn't even ask for. So they continued to go their own way, but as they went, they were stopped by a pair of siblings who begged for their help, saying that their siblings were captured by a demon in a mysterious mansion. Tanjiro rushes off to help, despite Zenitsu's protests. Tanjiro considered it shameful and tells him that if he's not here to help the innocent, then he should just quit being a demon slayer and leave. They approach the mansion. As soon as they enter it though, they realize just how massive it is. It would take them forever to search the whole place. It's then that Tanjiro takes the 2 boxes from his shoulders and sets them down, opening them up to let Nezuko and Naruto out. Zenitsu is startled by the sudden emergence of 2 children from the boxes, but as the 2 seem to age up before their very eyes, Zenitsu is taken over by a new feeling, especially when looking at Nezuko, one of attraction. Cold water is splashed on Zenitsu when he comes to realize that both of the new companions are demons. Okay, Tanjiro says, we're gonna split up. One team will search the left side of the house and the other team will search on the right side. Which team am I on? Zenitsu asked. I'll be on team A, Tanjiro says. And you, Zenitsu, will be on team B. Zenitsu almost panics. Wait, you want me to be on the same team as a demon? Well, yes, Tanjiro says. They're demons. They don't possess a Nichiren sword, so they can't properly face off against a demon and kill it. So there needs to be at least 1 demon slayer per team or it could get dangerous. Zenitsu seems to panic a little. Tanjiro sighs a bit with frustration and a slight bit of concern, both for Zenitsu and the others. You don't have to worry, Zenitsu. These are good demons. They won't hurt you. They're kind. I trust them with my life. Zenitsu, as scared as he is, decides to trust Tanjiro's judgment. As he calms down, the feeling of attraction once again dawns in his heart and he seems a bit more chipper. Can I be on Nezuko's team? Zenitsu asks with love in his eyes. Tanjiro thinks back on Zenitsu's encounter with that woman. First impressions. No, she's on my team. You get Naruto. Naruto looked over at Tanjiro and shook his head. Tanjiro leans over and whispers, I don't entirely trust him around Nezuko. I don't think he'll do anything to you though. Hey, I heard that, Zenitsu said, seeming slightly betrayed at the thought of someone harboring such beliefs about him. Tanjiro, surprised at Zenitsu's hearing ability, smiles awkwardly and attempts to fix the issue quickly. Not that I think you'd do anything to Nezuko either. Yes, you do, Zenitsu said. If you didn't, you wouldn't be afraid to let her be on my team. Tanjiro thinks about it. Well, I did just watch you harass a woman earlier, demanding that she be your wife. Zenitsu almost looked ready to cry. I just don't want to die alone. If I die, I at least want to know that someone will miss me. Tanjiro can't help but feel bad for him now. He didn't want to impugn upon the boy's honor. He merely wanted to be a good big brother and protect Nezuko from a stranger. I'm sorry, Zenitsu. I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions, but Nezuko's my sister and I need to protect her. I didn't know who you were or why you were doing that. Surely you understand. Zenitsu seemed to forgive him, although it didn't feel the way he felt about this. "It's fine, just send me with Naruto." "Are you sure?" Tanjiro asked. "I can ask Nezuko if she'd rather be on your team." A bead of sweat ran down Nezuko's cheek as she sat there, staring awkwardly at Tanjiro, as if trying to tell him telepathically that she did not want to go. Zenitsu shook his head. "No, Naruto's fine. Let's just hurry up, find the boy, and get out of this scary mansion." Tanjiro looked to Naruto and nodded, a hint of sadness in his gaze. Naruto would follow Zenitsu as Nezuko and Tanjiro stayed together. As they walked through the mansion, Naruto led the way as Zenitsu seemed to cower behind him. Naruto noticed this and asked frankly, "Why did you want to be a demon slayer if you're so afraid of dying?" Zenitsu kept close. "There was a girl I liked." Naruto began to fill in the blanks in his head, attempting to guess. "Oh, you wanted to impress her?" Zenitsu shook his head. "No, I lost her." Naruto's heart suddenly filled with sorrow. "Oh, did a demon kill her?" Zenitsu looked at Naruto with confusion. "What? No, she cheated on me. I wanted to impress her, so I got as much money as I could. Then, when I gave it to her, she took it and ran off with another man, leaving me in crippling debt." "So you joined the Demon Slayers to get out of debt?" Zenitsu shook his head. "You really need to let people finish talking before cutting them off." "No, I didn't, but the man who paid it off for me made me join the Corps as payment for settling my debts." Naruto listened. "Well, that sounds like a rough position." Zenitsu nodded. "The man trained me half to death. I thought I was going to die. I climbed a tree to get out of training, and I got struck by lightning." "Wow, what terrible luck. Unlucky in love, finances, and even in physical health. How did you survive being struck by lightning?" Zenitsu stood there for a moment. "Pure luck. That's how it felt anyway. I don't know how I survived, but I did. When I came to, my hair had run blonde with electricity. As I continued to train, I displayed what my master called unusual potential. I didn't notice anything special, but he said that it felt like when I was struck by lightning that I'd been possessed by the thunder god itself. He said only one other student of his had ever been kissed by the thunder god, a man named Minato Namikaze, the former Thunder Hashira." Naruto turned around. "Your master knew Minato Namikaze?" Zenitsu freaked out a little and backed away slowly. He nodded. Naruto's smile widened. "He was my dad." Zenitsu was shocked. "Your father was the former Thunder Hashira, Minato Namikaze?" Naruto nodded with excitement. "He was, but the Demon King killed him and my mother and turned me into a demon. What can you tell me about him? Can you tell me more about what he was like? Who he was?" Zenitsu shook his head. "No, I can't. I never knew the guy. He died not long after I was born. I didn't even know about him until after he was dead." Naruto seemed to grow a bit more depressed. "Oh, never mind then." Zenitsu felt bad for the fox boy demon and thought back. "Wait." Naruto looked back at him. "My master told me a few things about him. He said he was the second generation Thunder Hashira and one of the best demon slayers in the world. He said that Minato was kind and loving, not too dissimilar from Tanjiro. He said that Minato fell in love with a very special woman. Who she was, he didn't know. He never got to ask about her, as Minato never told anyone, and she never met with anyone else. She wasn't a demon slayer, and she stayed away from that line of business as best she could. But Minato always said that she was a special woman and that there was nobody like her in the world." Zenitsu smiled. "It was that story that made me think that becoming a demon slayer might not be so bad, so long as I could find my true love." Zenitsu's smile faded. "It's sad that Minato-sensei died. I wish that I could have met him. But it's wonderful to meet you, Naruto. You must be as special as your mother was if you can remain kind-hearted, even if you're a demon." Naruto smiled softly, looking almost like he might cry. "Thank you, Zenitsu." Suddenly, there was a crashing sound. Zenitsu and Naruto both turned around and saw a creature with the head of a boar holding two katanas, both of which had serrated edges like the teeth of a wild predator. Naruto and Zenitsu were both terrified when they saw it. "It's the demon!" Zenitsu shouted. Naruto then exclaimed, "Blood Demon Art, 1,000 year Zenko!" He suddenly took on more fox-like traits. The boar-headed creature saw him and began approaching with his blades ready. "I will kill you," it said with the most angry growling voice, like that of a boar with a stuffy nose. It lowered into a strange stance, its blades raised up, the blunt edges touching each side of the boar's ears as the tip pointed up toward the heavens, the arms holding the blades crossing over each other as if attempting to conceal the chin of the user. "Beast breathing! Second fang! Slice!" He rushed at Naruto with his blades before Naruto could even properly defend, and dragged them across Naruto's chest, leaving a wound in the pattern of an X. Naruto was knocked back and landed in some crates against the wall. He lay there for a moment, grimacing in pain as Zenitsu continued to cower. Zenitsu would pass out from terror. The boar-headed creature looked down at Zenitsu and scoffed. "Weak." He stepped over Zenitsu and began approaching Naruto. Naruto looked down at the wounds as they began to heal. He had been struck by a Nichirin blade, same as the one Tanjiro carried, and this demon had used a total concentration breathing technique. Naruto stood. "You're a strange demon. The creature growled, "I am not a demon! I'm Inosuke, god of the mountain!" He rushed at Naruto again. Naruto would switch his element to the element of forest and would form in his hand a wooden katana sharpened into a dangerous weapon. Naruto would catch the blades. Naruto listened to him. "But for real, you're a demon, aren't you? Created by the Demon King like I was?" The beast would roar and lift him above his head and throw him into a wall. "I will never be a demon! I'll free the world from your kind! I'm not hunted by demons, I am the hunter of demons!" the boar-headed creature said. Naruto then began to realize the truth. "You're human, aren't you?" Suddenly, from behind Inosuke, Naruto sees Zenitsu rise to his feet. His eyes still closed, but completely calm. He takes a deep breath. Thunder breathing, first form, thunderclap and flash. He would then unsheath his blade and dash at Inosuke at incredible speeds, planning to decapitate him. Inosuke only had enough time to turn around and see him coming. By that time, Naruto had switched to the element of thunder and rushed forward to protect Inosuke, catching the Nichirin blade with his own wooden one. The wood began to snap as he did so. Naruto deflected the attack just a little lower to keep it away from his neck. Suddenly, the blade carved through the wood and struck Naruto, cutting off his arm and slicing deep into his torso. Naruto let out a muffled cry of disbelief. He had never had a limb severed before. It hurt a lot more than he expected it to, but the blade stopped. Naruto reached out and put his hand on Zenitsu's shoulder. It's okay, Zenitsu. You can stop now." Slowly, Zenitsu's eyes opened with a shock at what he was doing. "Naruto?" He then looked down and noticed the blade carving into him. "Naruto, your arm!" He looked down at the blade. Did I do this?" Naruto nodded. "You're stronger than you give yourself credit for. Maybe you are possessed of a Raijin." Zenitsu then pulled his blade out. "Oh no, your arm! I maimed you! I'm such a horrible friend! I'll never forgive myself!" Tears running viciously from his eyes, he cried out in sorrow as he held his blade up as if he were prepared to stab himself, but he didn't. "Curse my cowardice! If I weren't such a coward, I would commit harakiri right here and now!" Naruto grabbed the handle of the blade and pulled it away from Zenitsu. "It's okay, Zenitsu, it's not that big of a deal." Naruto picked his arm up and just affixed it to the stub where the connections healed almost instantaneously. The sleeve was a lost cause though. "You saved me," Inosuke said. Naruto looked back. "Yeah, I did." "Why? Why?" Inosuke asked. Naruto smiled. "Because I sense you're not a bad person. You're here to search for the lost boy, aren't you? You're trying to do a good deed. You're here to kill a demon and a demon appeared. Me, I can hardly fault you for attacking me. After all, we attacked you too, thinking you were a demon. The point of the matter here is that we're all here to save the same lost child, which makes us allies with a common goal, as well as a common enemy. I think we do better to team up together instead of fighting against each other." Inosuke understood his misguided action. This demon was honorable. Compared to most other demons, he seemed like a saint. And so the three continued to walk together until they entered a group of rooms. Inside of these rooms, they saw a demon walking. It was large and possessed 5 drums. 1 on each pec of his chest, a third on his stomach, and 1 on each leg. The demon would see them and beat the drums on its body, causing the room to seemingly spin. Naruto, Inosuke, and Zenitsu would be thrown around by the rooms changing. Naruto would catch himself. He began to wonder how he could kill this demon if he could not use a Nichirin blade or utilize any breathing techniques. Even if he severed the demon's head, he would eventually be able to reattach it or even regrow from it. There had to be something he could do. He began cycling through his elements, searching for one that might work. He then found Celestial. "I wonder." He then coated his blade in celestial power, like that of the sun. To be frank, the light it was putting off burned him a little. He felt an uncomfortable heat in his hand, telling him that the blade itself was conducting something similar to sunlight. Whether it was actual sunlight or not, he did not know, but whatever it was actually emanating with some light that seemed to hurt. So Naruto began to hope that this would work. As the room spun, Naruto could not touch the ground. He looked to Inosuke and Zenitsu. "Guys, give me a boost." They swam closer to Naruto, and as they did, they would push into him, causing him to fly in that direction, toward the demon. Naruto would rush at him, utilizing the element of thunder. And in that moment, he would decapitate Kyogai, leaving him to die. The drums would disappear, and the spinning would end. "Come on, we gotta find the boy," Naruto said as they continued on. "Without the drums, it should be easier to find Kiyoshi." "Kiyoshi?" Zenitsu asked. Inosuke nodded. "Yes, he's the one who was kidnapped." They would continue searching the house. Naruto would use his sense of smell. There had been many smells, many humans and demons through here, but now the building simply smelt of blood. Demon and human alike. It seemed as though Tanjiro and Nezuko had found demons as well and had wounded or killed them. Naruto could only hope that they were okay. Naruto kept searching until he heard a sound coming from a room. He walked in and looked around. Hello? There was another slight sound. Naruto came closer to a closet and opened it up to find a panicking boy hiding under the clothes. The boy kicked at him and screamed bloody terror. Naruto took a few steps back from the boy and raised his hands. "We're not gonna hurt you." The boy sat there, crying in terror, tears running down his cheeks, a look in his eyes, desperate to live. Naruto kept his distance. "I mean you no harm." He sat there on his knees, patiently, not moving. He continued to watch the boy, giving him his time. The boy's crying slowed down, though his fear remained. He could hear his heartbeat from there. Naruto sat and waited a bit longer. The boy seemed calm enough. Naruto began to crawl toward him, but as the boy began to whine again, Naruto pulled back and returned to his position. There he waited a bit longer. The boy looked around, trying to see if this was a trick. "Why aren't you eating me? I know you're a demon." Naruto smiled at him. "I am a demon, but I'm not a bad one." "Impossible. They're all bad." Naruto shook his head. "Not all of them. There's a small group that's good, that don't kill humans and protects them. I'm one that protects humanity. I won't hurt you." The boy seemed to grow a little more comfortable and began to crawl out of the closet. Naruto let him. He didn't move or speak. He simply smiled and gave off good vibrations. He echoed out kindness and love and general concern for his well-being. As the boy drew closer, the others could only watch. By this time, Tanjiro and Nezuko had caught up with them and remained with Inosuke and Zenitsu at the door, just watching. The boy drew closer to Naruto until they could reach out and touch each other if they desired. All the same, Naruto didn't move. The boy, in curiosity, reached out his hand for Naruto's head, as if to pet a wild fox. As the boy pet his head, Naruto showed no signs of aggression, only smiling. As degrading as it was, he knew that this was bringing the boy peace of mind, so he let him do it without complaint. "All the hostile demons were killed by me and my demon slayer friends." Naruto looked to the door to show the boy Tanjiro, Nezuko, Inosuke, and Zenitsu. "We were sent here by your brother and sister. They miss you and want you to come home." The boy nodded and stood. "I'll trust you. Please, take me outside." Naruto stood. "Follow us." He led the boy out to the others where they had a family reunion. Naruto would smile. Thereafter, he would introduce Inosuke to Tanjiro and Nezuko, and thus the three began to travel together. Naruto was pleased to have made so many friends. As the night came and went, Naruto found himself back in his box. This was always the most boring and slightly terrifying part of the day. Fear set in that the box might drop, shatter, and burn him with the sun. But he preoccupied himself by thinking about Lady Tamayo and Yushiro, missing his family. They would eventually stop at a house with a wisteria plant present on the front. There they'd be able to clean themselves and tend to their wounds. They'd be provided food and new clothes as well as a place to rest. But all things considered, nighttime was the only time Naruto was allowed to move around, so he couldn't just sleep through it. While the others slept, he himself would get up and move around. The keepers of the house kept a close eye on him. Even if he was a member of the Demon Slayer's little posse, he was still a demon, and demons were not to be trusted. Naruto walked outside into the night and took in the cool night air. It was always so much warmer during the days. The inside of the box was always so hot. The sun, even when not touching his skin, made him uncomfortable. He couldn't say that he enjoyed the chill of the night, but during the summertime it was almost perfect. He was enjoying the moonlight. It was the most sunlight his body could take without discomfort. A mere reflection, a shadow of what the humans experienced. But even though he had but a few times witnessed a blue sky, he had to admit that the stars made up for his inability to cloud gaze as any other children would. Yoshiro used to tell him stories of what it was like to be a human. Going to school with other kids, eating lunches and candy, being under the sunlight, feeling its warmth, the beach and ocean, the clouds. He told him all about it. Sometimes Naruto wished he could see such things, but could never do so. He was a demon, and demons were forever cursed to walk only in the night. But he had to take what he could get. He had no definite lifespan. His aging would slow down to a stop once he hit his prime, and his strength would only grow over time. As he'd stand there in the darkness enjoying the gentle wind, another feeling permeated the air. He was being watched. Not by the keepers of the house, it was someone else. He looked back to see a cowled figure standing up on the roof of the building. What a wonderful night. A great night for a stroll, wouldn't you say? Naruto stepped back and sunk into a fighting stance. "Who are you? I know you're a demon. You'd better explain yourself." The woman sighed. "I should have guessed you would have forgotten about me. After all, you were so small." She removed her cowl. It was a woman with deep red hair. Naruto looked up at her with confusion. She spoke again. "Hello, Naruto. I'm your mother, Kushina Uzumaki." Naruto was shocked. My mother?" She nodded. Naruto's brow furrowed. "How do I know you're truly my mother and not an imposter?" The woman smiled. "Because we possess the same blood demon art. You inherited your 1,000-year Zenko form from me." She then demonstrated it, her ears popping up atop her head and her tail becoming visible as she became more feral in appearance. Naruto was surprised. Mother? Naruto would recoil, but only for a moment. "Why does that matter to me?" Naruto asked. "Why should I care for someone who obviously didn't care for me?" "Who said I didn't care, Naruto?" Kushina asked. If you cared, you would have come for me sooner. Kushina sighed. I didn't have the chance to. Tamayo used a very powerful magic to keep you hidden. She was protecting me, Naruto said. Kushina shook her head. No, she was kidnapping you. Naruto was confused. What? Kushina explained. Your father was a human, a Hashira of the Demon Slayers, and I was a demon. Such an unlikely union. One he kept from the core for fear of what they might do to me. But in our love, a new being was formed. That being was you, Naruto. Naruto listened intently. Kushina continued. Pregnancy with a demon is rough. I attempted to warn Minato, but he said that he would face any consequence to have you, so long as I was also willing. And so we agreed. As you grew in me, though, you eventually reached full term and awakened within me. I'll spare you the details, but let's just say that you came out of me in your own special way. Enough for me to pass out from the pain. What happened during that time was that you killed your father. Naruto was surprised. Wait, I killed my father? Lady Tamayo said that he was killed before I was born by the Demon King. Kushina shook her head. She says a lot of things, Naruto. I won't say that she isn't a good woman because she tries to help others, but the fact of the matter is she knew I was still alive and she took you away. She kept you all to herself, hiding you from me. She was always jealous. She wanted to be a mother, but she couldn't. Why not? Naruto asked. Because it's hard for a demon to have a child with a non-demon. If a male demon and a female woman procreate, the child will either be human or a demon that kills the mother. If a female demon and a human male procreate, then the child born will have to be a demon. Because if it's a human, it'll be devoured by the mother while still inside. And the chance that the baby will be a demon is... I think I once heard that it was less than 10%. Then why wouldn't you just try with the demon instead? Why would you need to take me from you? Because for two demons to procreate, the Demon King himself would have to be okay with the birth of the child, and he would never do that. Two demons can't procreate unless the Demon King allows it. You were so rare. You were a demoness's chance at motherhood, and Tamayo couldn't help but take you all to herself. It took me years to track down who it was that took you, and even after I discovered who it was, I could never locate her. She had concealed herself. Kushina drew closer and hugged Naruto. If I could have found you, I would have. I would have traded the world. I would have bored the rays of the sun just to find you. I love you, Naruto. Naruto was stunned by this. He had no idea about any of this. Why would Tamayo keep this from him? Why would she tell him he was an orphan when he still had a mother? She hadn't even presented him the choice. Instead of giving him the chance to decide for himself, she had lied to him. Suddenly, Naruto witnessed Tanjiro standing there, holding his Nichirin blade. Naruto, step back from her. Naruto would step in front of Kushina and hold his arms out. No, Tanjiro, it's not what you think. Tanjiro shook his head. Naruto, that's a demon. She's my mother, Tanjiro. Tanjiro gulped as sweat ran down his cheek. She's a powerful demon, Naruto. I've never felt a power like hers before, even in you. Naruto was appalled. Tanjiro, calm down. Tanjiro shook his head. I can smell it on her, Naruto. The blood of 1,000 humans, it lingers on her breath. Naruto shook his head. You're mistaken. Put the blade away, Tanjiro. Tanjiro shook his head once again. No, Naruto, she's hurt a lot of people. I don't know what she's told you, but the next person she hurts will be you. Tanjiro began to draw closer. Water breathing, first form, water surface slash. Naruto would then form his wooden blade and coat it in water from the river element. He would clash with Tanjiro. Tanjiro, stop! She's my mother! She's lying to you, Naruto. She doesn't care about you in the least. I can see it in her eyes. Naruto pushed Tanjiro back. Tanjiro spoke. Naruto, trust me. I know what it's like to lose a mother. A father, family. I know about sacrifice and the desire to save what you love, but I know true love. I saw it in my mother's eyes every day when she slaved away just to keep me alive. No, you're just jealous that I can still have a mother and you don't. How can you do this to me? How can you kill my mother so callously and act like I shouldn't care? Your entire mission is to carry your sister around in a box just to find the cure and save her from being a demon. Even if what you say is true, why shouldn't I also be willing to do everything to save her? A true friend wouldn't do this to me. A true friend wouldn't let you walk off to your death, Tanjiro shouted. Naruto stood there with a look of betrayal upon his face. A true friend would let me decide that for myself. Tanjiro was shocked. The pain inside him was building up. In the short time he had come to know Naruto in, he loved him. Naruto had filled a hole in Tanjiro's heart, a role once filled by his many brothers. Tanjiro pushed Naruto to the side. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I do this because I love you. Tanjiro would then use Form 1 against Kushina. He would dash forward. Kushina, a look of worry in her eyes, rushed forward to defend herself. In a moment, the attack was over. Naruto stood there in shock, looking on to see who had won. Tanjiro stood, his sword out, back facing Kushina. Kushina stood there, back facing Tanjiro, claws exposed. With a look of shock upon her face, Kushina's breathing quickened. Suddenly, a cut opened on her throat that spewed blood. She fell to her knees as she grabbed it. She looked back at Tanjiro. Suddenly, from Tanjiro's torso, a splatter of blood was launched. He had managed to wound her throat, but just barely. She had managed to stab him in the stomach. Tanjiro fell to his knees, bleeding from his mouth. His eyes looked up at the moon where he thought he saw the reflection of his mother. "I'm so sorry, Mom." Tears rolled down his cheeks as his eyes rolled back in his head and he fell forward upon his face. Naruto crawled to Tanjiro and rolled him over. He saw the wound on his stomach. "No, Tanjiro!" He held him in his arms. "Stay with me! Stay with me!" Kushina rushed over to the boy and knelt over him. She put her fingers to his throat. "He's dead." She looked up at Naruto. "I'm so sorry, Naruto. I didn't mean to kill him. I was only trying to disarm him." Suddenly, there was a commotion in the house. She stood. "Hurry, we need to get out of here or they'll kill us." She held her hand out to Naruto. Naruto looked at it for a moment. He then took her hand and together they fled into the night. Naruto ran through the night with Kushina. The moon was high and the Wisteria house was now so distant that it could hardly be seen anymore. Naruto came down to his knees by a lone tree on the side of the road. "What did we do?" he asked. "We defended ourselves," Kushina said, her hand upon her son's trembling shoulder, attempting to bring solace to the boy. "We did only what we needed to do," she said. "We killed Tanjiro!" Naruto shouted as his voice hissed into a squeak, as if the very words of his previous sentence had deflated him like a balloon. "Tanjiro was my friend." "Was he really?" Kushina asked. Naruto looked up. "Of course, he was kind and sweet, and he saw the humanity inside of me." Kushina sighed. "Baby, he was a demon slayer. They're a group created for the sole purpose of genocide against demons. You couldn't have sustained yourself in that world. Eventually they would have found out and you would have had to flee." "How do you know that?" Naruto asked. Kushina seemed to be fighting the urge to cry. "Because I was married to a demon slayer, the Thunder Hashira." Naruto sat there for a moment. "Can we talk about him? I want to know more." Kushina smiled awkwardly. "Yeah, we can talk about him, but maybe we should move somewhere else. We did just kill a demon slayer. They're going to be hunting us." Naruto nodded. He followed his mother through the nearby forest, deep along the mountain pass. There was a cave in the side of the wall that was fairly covered by moss and vines, concealing its presence. Going deeper in, Naruto found a campsite with a campfire in the middle. Kushina sat down. Naruto sat down as well. He was obviously still skeptical of her, but now he had no choice but to trust her. After all, he was now wanted for killing Tanjiro. As they sat there, Kushina stoked the fire a bit. Naruto watched her. "So, about my father." Kushina looked up. "You just can't wait to know, can you?" "Well, I suppose I understand you have been wanting to know for about 16 years. Well, Kushina came to the other side of the camp to sit next to Naruto. "Your father was the kindest man I ever met. He didn't judge people based on their status as a demon, but upon their hearts. You see, as a demoness, I had a rough life. I had to make sacrifices to live. Despite these things, he saw within me the potential to have a heart. With his love, I stopped killing." "So, you were a killer?" Naruto asked. Kushina nodded. "Your friend wasn't entirely wrong about me. I'm strong because I killed in my younger years. I was terrible. My story started in the red light district of Yoshiwara, Tokyo. I was an entertainer there during the years of the Edo period. I was feisty and hot-headed, ambitious, and a demon. I was known by many names, but one of my more famous aliases was Tamamo no Mai, or Lady Duckweed." "Wait, you were a courtesan?" Naruto asked. Kushina looked over and took a deep breath. "Mama wasn't perfect. She still isn't." Naruto settled down a bit and let her continue. "Well, as time passed, it came that I and another demoness and her brother were on the prowl. Words of our exploits, our hunts, they sort of got around. And the demon slayers eventually dispatched one of the most powerful Hashira to take care of us. His name was Minato Namikaze. During battle, he seemed as though he was a man kissed by the thunder god. He moved so quickly that it was as if he were teleporting around. My compatriots, Daki and Gyutaro, abandoned me in the middle of battle, and just as I thought I might die, Minato stayed his hand. He said he sensed in me something else, a kind heart, capable of love. He offered to let me live and to train me to survive as a demon in a world of humans. He hid me from the demons and the demon slayers alike, and I became an ordinary housewife. Given my husband's job, it wasn't uncommon for us to sleep during the day and move during night. As a demon, I'm sure you understand. And as a slayer, this meant he had to be active when demons were, so we began to think we could make it work. Kushina smiled as she thought back about it. He wanted a child so badly, and I wanted one too, but giving birth to one is hard. The conditions were right, but it took so long. We tried, and it seemed as though it wouldn't happen. We would conceive, and the child wouldn't be a demon, and because of that, my body would absorb it. That was a trying time for us. Sometimes I wonder how I survived the multiple failures, but eventually we conceived, and that child, she began to smile. It was a demon, like me. My body didn't absorb it. It began to nourish the child. Something so foreign to my state of being was happening. For a time, it felt almost like I was becoming human again, like my demonic side was disappearing. Your father was so happy. Of course, he had to hide his excitement from his compatriots. He was a demon slayer. It was his job to destroy demons, not make more of them. But he truly loved me. He said my heart was his greatest experiment, proof that one could overcome their innate darkness and choose to walk in the light. And he was so happy to know that you were being carried within me. Every night he would come to my belly and whisper to you, telling you about how he loved you, how you were a miracle to this world. For the first time in many years, I felt like a regular woman again. We were so happy, but the time came that your gestation reached its end. You were ready to be born, and so you came into this world on your own terms. What could have been expected though? You were a demon. You came out and I lost consciousness. I sometimes blame myself. If I had been awake, maybe I could have stopped you. I killed my own father, Naruto said as he looked down, eyes full of regret, his heart slowly shattering, knowing that his innocence was gone. Or more like he never truly had it. He was a murderer from the very start. Kushina caressed his cheek. Don't blame yourself, Naruto. You didn't mean it. You were only just born. But in truth, it taught me something that day. No matter how much we try, we can't stop the flow of nature. You and I are predators, and though a lion may befriend an antelope, in the end, the antelope's blood will always be spilled by the lion. For me, that realization was with your father. As much as we loved each other, my demonic nature couldn't be held back, nor could yours, and he died that day. The same with that Tanjiro kid you cared about. We couldn't stop his demise. We just aren't compatible. In the end, friendship with a human being is merely prolonging the inevitable. It's playing with our food. We're only doing what nature willed of us. Naruto shook his head. I don't like to think like that, though. If I admit that, then it means I'm not human. She shakes her head. No, son. You're more human as a killer than you would have been if no blood stained your hands. After all, humans like to think they're civilized, but all of their kingdoms are built on the bones of the innocent. To kill is to be human. Demons are merely humans whose instincts have taken over. And like a human, we can ignore those instincts, but only for a while. Eventually, they rear their ugly head and we kill. It's who we are. Naruto sat there silently. How have you kept yourself alive these past 16 years? Kushina sat there silently. I've killed. Naruto seemed startled by this. Kushina then spoke. I have no other choice. All I can eat is human. You're the same. The only difference is that Tamayo found more humane ways to do it. But that doesn't mean I can't do the same. She pulled out a slab of meat. This is from a serial killer. He was found guilty and sentenced to death. Before the day he was set to be executed, I snuck in, killed him, and escaped with his remains, leaving behind only his bones. I worked as a tool of justice and was rewarded with a meal that sustained my life. A necessary evil, serving good. She looked at the meat and pushed it toward Naruto. Have you ever actually tasted human flesh? At least in conscious memory? Naruto shook his head. She could see his mouth watering. She smiled. Eat it. Naruto shook his head. No, I can't. If I eat it, I'll start craving it. I'll become a monster. Kushina chuckled a bit. She tore a piece from the slab and pushed it toward his face. We're all monsters here. Humanity is a monster in and of itself. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you can find your place in the natural order. Naruto couldn't help but listen as he looked into his mother's eyes. Come now, take a bite. Mother knows best. Naruto's mouth opened as it was pushed in. He chewed upon it. As disgusting as a human might think it was, to a demon it was like taking a bite of delicious filet mignon. His eyes rolled up as he swallowed it. Kushina pulled another piece. Good, good. Now eat another. A growing boy needs to eat. Naruto continued to eat until it was completely devoured. From there, he ended up falling asleep, his head resting in his mother's lap. He had the most calm and fulfilled look on his face as he slept, as if his desire to eat human flesh were the most natural thing in the world, as if it had helped him find where he belonged. He belonged here, resting in the lap of his mother. But as he slept, another being entered the cage. Kushina looked up at him. Good evening to you, Lord Akaza. Standing above her was a man of pale complexion, his skin riddled with blue markings, his body well maintained, muscular, fit for battle. He had spent countless years honing his physical form to reach its full potential. He was the definition of a meathead, and his whole goal was to simply be what he had always had the potential to be. To Akaza, this was what it meant to be complete. To be physically capable of everything you could be at any time. To reach physical perfection based on your own latent potential. That being said, he admired his master, knowing that he too sought perfection, and yet it had been just waiting out of grasp, or so it seemed. The time was coming where he might not be waiting too much longer. Is this him? Akaza asked. Kushina nodded. This is my son. His name is Naruto. It's not a name I would have picked up, but the charm is undeniable. Tamayo did well. Akaza let off a smile. He seems to have not fallen far from the tree. His power is incredible, like his mother's. Kushina smiled. You flatter me, Lord Akaza. The man smiled and rolled his head on his shoulders. Come on, Kushina. We've known each other for generations. I am the one who turned you into a demon in the first place. She smiled. Was that because you saw my potential? Or was it simply because you wanted another way to prove your superiority to Lord Doma? Akaza smiled. Can it not be both? You superseded Daki and Gyutaro, did you not? It was at that moment that Kushina's eyes seemed to roll up, displaying the markings for an upper moon 6. Kushina smiled. Perhaps so, but only because of you. You helped me hone my body and mind. Not only did I become more beautiful than Daki, but even stronger than Gyutaro. There's a reason why I am the most desired courtesan in all of Tokyo. I possess power through my connections, and through me, Lord Muzan's power only grows more and more vast. Akaza knelt down and began to examine Naruto. He truly is a marvel. He looks like that accursed Thunder Hashira. How many of our kind did he kill? Akaza asked. Too many. Honestly, when I received word that I was free to kill him, my heart leapt with joy. Kushina then looked down at Naruto. He had run his course. We had what we wanted from him. And now this half-demon, half-human hybrid exists, our living blue spider lily. Are you sure this'll work? Kushina asked. Akaza looked to her. Do not doubt our master. He has spent his long life studying the intricacies of the creation of demons. To create one that is capable of walking in the sunlight was his greatest desire, one that still maintains a part of his humanity, walking in balance with his human and demon halves, that would allow all the benefits of being a demon with none of the drawbacks. This boy does not yet realize it, but he's a daywalker. He is capable of walking in the sun, and because of that, Lord Kibutsuji desires him, to take him into himself. Kushina nodded. I understand. Akaza turned as he began to leave. You are to bring the boy to the Infinity Castle, to Lord Muzan. There he'll become the new hope for demonkind, a promise that we may one day also walk in the sun. But before you do that, you must seek out our only threat, and the only one who will know how to properly incorporate his blood to the formula. We must seek out Tamayo, find her, kill her, gather her journals, and return to the Infinity Castle, and present them and the boy to our master. This is your mission. It's been entrusted to you only because you were the one to supplant Daki and Gyutaro, and to stand so close to me in power. That being said, if you have need of anything, do not hesitate to reach out. Our master would rather send a perceived weak servant some extra help than lose this chance. Remember that. Kushina bowed her head in respect. Yes, Lord Akaza. And with that, the man was gone. The next day came, and both Naruto and Kushina hid within the cave. It was a dangerous time for them, as the demon slayers likely would have been funneling into the Wisteria clan's house to deal with the demon attack. But Kushina was certain everything would be okay. After all, they wouldn't let anything happen to Naruto. Thankfully, they were left undiscovered by the demon slayers. As night fell upon them, they began to leave. As they left, Kushina spoke to Naruto. "Do you know where Tamayo is?" she asked. Naruto looked back. "Why do you ask?" In truth, Kushina had to find a way to get to her. She knew Naruto would be able to find her given that he was raised by her. She needed Naruto to lead her there because she knew that Muzan couldn't find her. But she couldn't tell Naruto that. She had to tell him something else. "I want to express my gratitude to her for taking care of you. I want to offer her my aid as well, hopefully so she can find a way to rid the world of the curse of demon kind." Naruto smiled. "I know where we can find her. There were many safe houses. I know we had one in Yokohama. She said if ever our home was compromised, we could meet there, so I say we head to Yokohama." Kushina smiled. "I'll let you lead the way." She stepped out of the way and let Naruto go. Naruto would lead them through the various towns and villages before bringing her to Yokohama. It was an expansive city. Businesses lined every side of every street. It looked like it was doing its dead-level best to rival Tokyo in majesty and commerce. It was truly a wonder to see how far the city had come. Kushina had been here at least once in her younger years. She marveled at it as she walked the streets. Naruto would start heading towards the docks near the harbor. There, she laid eyes on the Yokohama red brick warehouse for the first time. The warehouse was huge. It served as a customs building for all new merchandise coming in from the sea. "Why did Tamayo choose to live in a place like this?" Kushina asked. Naruto pointed to the warehouse. "Due to being so close to a customs building, she finds it easier to collect items she needs for her treatments." Naruto led her to a wall. "We've reached a dead end," Kushina said. Naruto shook his head. "You can't tell, but this is Yoshiro's blood demon art." "Yoshiro?" Kushina asked. Naruto smiled. "He's a demon Tamayo created. He was very sick, but he was turned into a demon to help him heal from his disease." Kushina nodded. She was unaware that there was another demon out there that could make others into demons besides Muzan. She began to understand why it was that Muzan wanted her so badly. Not only was she close to discovering a cure to the disease they called demonification, but she was also able to make demons on her own, which made her immensely powerful. Demons needed only one leader. Adding in a second created a new faction, and that could lead to demons fighting other demons. The structure would be threatened. Not only that, but Tamayo had somehow managed to break free of Kibutsuji's curse. That was one of her more dangerous stunts, as it ensured that Muzan could no longer control her. As Naruto passed through the barrier, Kushina passed through as well. Once she reached the other side, she stood there by Naruto. "I'll go on in and prepare Miss Tamayo for your arrival." Kushina nodded. As Naruto left, he entered the hidden home. "Mama, I'm home," he shouted. Tamayo came around the corner and pulled Naruto into a hug. "Welcome back, Naruto. I'm glad you're okay. I received a letter that something had happened. A demon attacked your group. Are you alright?" Naruto nodded. "Yeah, but it wasn't actually an attack." Tamayo was confused. "What do you mean?" Naruto continued. "A demon showed up outside of the Wisteria clan's house while I and the others were resting. But it wasn't just any demon. It was my mother." Tamayo was shocked, confused. "Your mother?" Naruto nodded. "Why did you keep this from me that she survived?" Tamayo shook her head. "I didn't know that she did. The scene I saw, it didn't look like something anyone could have survived. And you said she's a demon too." Naruto nodded. Tamayo seemed to grow more nervous. "How much do you know of this woman? Can you be certain that it's your mother?" Naruto nodded. "She knew things about my father that nobody else did. That being said, you can take a look for yourself." "I think I would like to," Tamayo said. She was led out of the house, Yoshiro not too far behind. There she would meet with Kushina for the first time. Memories of the past began to play out in her mind. Tamayo remembered the face. "I assume you to be Naruto's biological mother?" she asked. Kushina smiled and offered her hand, which Tamayo took. "It's an honor to meet my child's surrogate mother." "The honor is mine," Tamayo said. "Welcome to our humble abode." All of these words were hollow and empty, as both Tamayo and Kushina knew it. There was a distrust between the two of them, and so it should be. They both knew just by looking at each other what was happening. Tamayo looked to Naruto. "Would you be a dear and go in and prepare some tea for us?" Naruto nodded and proceeded to enter the house. Tamayo then looked to Kushina. "What are you doing here? What's your purpose for seeking Naruto out?" Kushina began to grin nefariously before speaking. "I came to reclaim what's mine, and to claim for Lord Muzan what's his. You've been a thorn in our side for far too long, Tamayo, and now it's time for you to pay the piper." Tamayo then spoke. "You think I haven't prepared for this? I knew for a long time that I would end up facing Kibutsuji." The moment I got the letter from the others, I knew you would be on your way. The only reason Kibutsuji would want Naruto is to come for me. That's not entirely true. You don't understand how special Naruto is, and while you are indeed a target, we have other things we want," Kushina said. Tamayo shook her head. "You think you have the element of surprise, but I knew you were coming. You've walked into your own doom." Suddenly, various members of the Demon Slayer Corps appeared around them. Kushina looked around. "And what will poor Naruto think when he sees you attacking his mother, after I told him how you just wanted to keep him all for yourself?" Tamayo gulped. "If he hates me, that's fine. I just want him alive, and I know you won't leave him that way." Kushina sighed. Naruto returned and saw Demon Slayers surrounding them. "What's going on?" At the same time, Tamayo and Kushina spoke. "She's trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me." Naruto stood there in shock. Suddenly, the Demon Slayers rushed in. Kushina would suddenly shout, "Blood Demon Art, 1000-Year Yako!" Her body began to transform in a style similar to Naruto. She would begin facing off against the Demon Slayer Corps. Naruto shouted, "Mama, what have you done? She's my mother!" Naruto rushed in, trying to free his mother from the clutches of the Demon Slayers, when suddenly somebody else appeared. Tanjiro. "Stop, Naruto!" Naruto was startled. "Tanjiro, but Mother said you died." Tanjiro shook his head. "No, she told you that to make you panic, to make you follow after her. You don't know what she's doing." At about that time, 2 other demons appeared. Lower-ranked demons 1, Daki and Gyutaro. They had been sent by Muzan to protect Kushina. "See," Tanjiro said, "she's working with Kibutsuji." Naruto shook his head. "You don't know that." "Naruto!" another voice shouted. Tamayo ran to him and held him tight. "Naruto, your mother is a demon." "So are you," he shouted. "How can you expect me to just betray her like this?" Tamayo stood there. "I know what you feel, but remember who I am. I love you. All I want for you is to be happy. If it was with her, I would allow it, but she's not safe." "How do you know?" Naruto demanded. "Because of Kibutsuji's curse," Tamayo shouted. Naruto stood there silently and listened. Tamayo continued. "Naruto, you already know this deep down. Kibutsuji's curse is not something that can be easily broken." "But my father, he had to have broken it." Tamayo shook her head. "Can you not sense the darkness in her?" Naruto looked over. "Naruto, listen to me. If she truly was as good as she said, she wouldn't have summoned the lower moons to assist her. You know Daki and Gyutaro. I told you about them. You need to face the facts. She wants to destroy us. I don't know why, but Kibutsuji needs you. She wants to take you and use you, and you know this to be true." Naruto fell to his knees. The conversation he and his mother had before, the conversation about natural order, of how humans were naturally killers, how she smelled of human flesh, how she fed it to him. Now she had summoned 2 members of the Kizuki. Naruto wanted to cry, but he grew even more enraged by the fact that she lied to him. He shouted as a pillar of energy erupted into the sky, a dark energy enveloping him. He had activated his Blood Demon Art 1000-Year Zenko. He stood and approached her. You lied to me," he shouted at her. Kushina, knowing that the jig was up, sighed. "You were nothing but an experiment, Naruto. You weren't supposed to exist. My entire point of being a courtesan for all those years was to give birth to you, a perfect half-demon, and now I have. You think I'm just gonna let you go? No, I'm going to bring you back with me to Kibutsuji whether you like it or not." Gyutaro and Daki began to approach beside Kushina. Nezuko, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu gathered on one side, while Tamayo and Yushiro gathered on the other side. Tanjiro put his hand on Naruto's shoulder. "We'll deal with Gyutaro and Daki. You deal with your mother. Can you do that?" Naruto looked at Tanjiro. "I don't know." Tanjiro offered what little smile he could. "Just do your best. It's all we ask." Naruto nodded. Tanjiro and the others went about facing Daki and Gyutaro. Naruto approached Kushina. Tears of betrayal sat in his eyes. She spoke. "Honestly, you shouldn't be so surprised. It's not in a demon's nature to create life. We only destroy it. This world doesn't deserve anything new and creative anyway." Naruto shook his head. "You're wrong. My father was proof of that." "The father you killed?" Kushina asked with a sly smile, trying to trip Naruto up with his own conscience. Naruto shook it off. "My father saw you and believed in the good that you had the potential to be. You threw that away, but I won't. My father was a bright and shining spot in this world. I won't let the good he represented go to waste. I'll prove that we can choose to be good, to be better than the demons we've become." Naruto rushed in to face his mother. He struck her, knocking her back. She was surprised by his power. For a demon that had only just recently eaten its first human, he certainly was acting like a Kizuki. She wondered how this was. As he struck her and sent her flying across the courtyard, she hit a tree and went through before hitting a wall. Naruto would be on her in a moment, continuing the assault. Kushina, however, would respond by grabbing his face, pushing him off, and then running along the wall, scraping him across it. She threw him through the wall and out of the hidden area. Naruto rolled as he rose to stand. Some blood had gathered on his clothes as the harbor sat behind him. He stood there and shifted his element to fire, the kanji appearing upon his starball. He would fire out a stream of flame at his mother, causing her to counter with wind. "I've been doing this a lot longer than you, Naruto." She would suddenly use her sound element to release a sound wave of a howl at Naruto, flinging him through the building's wall before using her time element to pull him back through it, replacing it again before throwing him through the wall a second time. Naruto skid. He attempted to use Ocean to raise the sea into a large wave that he would crash into his mother. She didn't seem to be fazed by it though, using her earth element to knock Naruto back into the sea. As he lingered below the waves, Tamayo reached out to him via telepathy. "Naruto, are you okay?" "I don't know, Mama. I don't know if I can beat her." Tamayo's voice was soft and sweet as she spoke. "I believe in you, Naruto. You can do it." Eventually, as the conversation ended, Naruto rose back to the surface. He began using his elemental powers. He only really had one chance. Coming back to the top, he raced toward Kushina, attempting to strike her in the face. She caught his blow. "Is that really all you've got, Naruto?" Naruto gripped her hand. "No, that is." Suddenly, the sun began to peek over the horizon. "What? Impossible! The sun isn't supposed to rise for a good few more hours." Naruto revealed that his star ball said time on it. He was forcefully making the planet spin a little faster with his time manipulation. Kushina attempted to scramble into the darkness, but Naruto grabbed her. She did everything in her power to try and get away, but he held her tightly. "Naruto, stop this! You can't do this! I'm your mother!" Naruto nodded. "I know. You're my responsibility. This is why I have to do it." The sun began to rise, and as it did, its rays began to burn her. "Please, Naruto, I beg you! You can't do this to me! I love you!" she shouted. Naruto, tears in his eyes, spoke. "I love you too, but that's why I have to do this. I can't let you continue to do evil." "Naruto!" The rays set them both alight. She screamed and wailed as the sun began to eradicate her. Naruto felt the heat. His body was already growing accustomed to it, but his arms were also being burned by the flame that was his mother's immolation. A moment after, she was gone. Dust. Naruto lay there in silence, his arms covered in burns. Elsewhere, Daki and Gyutaro, not having noticed the sun, also began to turn to dust, and with that, the threat came to an end. Tamayo would bring Naruto into the house to rest, but his heart was shattered. Despite everything, he was in shock. He had to kill his own mother. The burns on his arm from holding her would never heal. It was as if his body didn't want them to heal. He wanted to be scarred, to remember what he did to the one who gave him life. For days, he didn't speak, wouldn't take blood, wouldn't do anything. They began to worry he might die, but with the love of his friends, he pulled through. "Tanjiro," he said, "I'm so sorry I didn't believe you. I should have listened to you, but because I didn't, you nearly died. Everyone did." Tanjiro would hug Naruto. "It's okay, Naruto. You can't be blamed. I know that if my mother came back, all I would want would be to be with her. I'm just so sorry that your mother wasn't worthy of it." Naruto struggled to get past this, but eventually he did by recentering who he was and remembering what Lady Tamayo, Yoshiro, and his father had taught him. Good existed inside of everyone, and it was that person's choice whether to display it or not. A part of him hoped and believed that deep down Kushina really loved him, as well as Minato, but it was too late to ask. Naruto knew this must be true though, even if she refused to admit it. As he stayed though, Tamayo took a new interest in Naruto's biology and began studying his unique traits. With his blood, Nezuko's blood, and various samples of wisteria, she was able to synthesize a cure for demonification. This, she hoped, would be enough to kill Muzan for good. This was something Muzan would not have though, and his attacks would increase until the day that the Demon Slayer core prevailed. Naruto, however, would not become anything less than a demon. He decided that this world needed someone to watch over it, and to take Muzan's place should any new demons arise. Someone to show them the way, to prove they didn't need to kill to survive. The battle against Kushina was something that was kept in the shadows by the Demon Slayer core, but the effects of it were felt far and wide. Not only had time skipped ahead quite a bit for a while there, but the earth shook in all directions. it would be known as the Great Kanto Earthquake of 1923. As Naruto lived, he watched as generations passed him by. He watched the First World War, the Second, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and it was he and Lady Tamayo who would help save many lives during that time. It's said that to this day there are doctors out there with mystical abilities that can cure any disease, but that's just another urban legend, just like the demons that once fought against and for humanity. The revelation that Kushina was a demon too, and more than that, a villain, was the big twist I had set up. I wonder how many of you predicted it though. If you did, tell me in the comments. This story presented the question that many people are posed with every day. Who is your real family? Is it biological or is it more? Tamayo and Yushiro were far more of a family to Naruto than Kushina was, and that was because of only one thing: love. I love getting to explore that theme. What makes a family is deeper than blood or water. It's love. Anyway, if you loved the video, be sure to click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the bell to be notified when more videos like this drop, and check out these other videos to keep you occupied until we release another. Until next time, peace out.